Hi everyone. So today, in this occasion, I would like to present my presentation about application of English learning models in the internalization of religious modernism values. But before that, I would like to say Panganjali Umat, Om Swastiastu. Alright, so this is my presentation. As you guys can see about the application of English learning models in the internalization of religious modernism values. And our lecturer is Dr. Sulaiman Suryadi, SPD, SIG, MPD. Thank you for the opportunity that given to me. And then our team. The first is Nimbaditi Tariski, Nikamang Antika Cipta Utari, and myself, Ida Ayu Anum Widya Sukmadewi. So this is the presentation. We have two topics. The first is model value clarification, of course, and then the second topic is model problem-based learning. Okay, let's start about the definition. What is value clarification? The VCIT, Value Clarification Technique, Learning Model or Value Clarification Techniques is a learning approach that aims to change or instill values, norms in the form of simulation and learning activities. In the VCIT learning model, students are trained to find, choose, analyze, and decide what their own attitudes, what values are suitable for them. Through the VCIT learning model, students are encouraged to act consciously, to find and understand prevailing values and norms such as honesty, openness, and mutual respect. There are another understanding of the VCIT learning model is a learning strategy that can assist students in assessing their own values so that in the end these values will belong to them as moral awareness, not just a moral obligation. Students are given the freedom to make their own decisions about which values to direct their lives. Change for the sake of a person's change can be influenced by his experience and development of life in society. The next material is the purpose. The purpose of VCIT is first, knowing and measuring the level of awareness of students about a value so that it can be used as a basis for determining the target value to be achieved. The second one, instilling students' awareness of the values that are owned, both positive and negative levels and traits, to be further instilled in the direction of increasing and achieving values. The third purpose is instill certain values in students in a relational or logical way and are accepted by students, so that in the end these values will belong to students as a process of moral awareness, not a moral obligation. The fourth, train students accepting, assessing their own values and the value positions of others, accepting and making decisions on issues related to the relationship and everyday life. The next material is the type of VCIT. The first, action learning approach. This is emphasis should be placed on effort and providing opportunities for students to do good deeds. The second one is moralizing. This model teaches a number of values that must exist and become a guide for students' lives. Here, students are required to accept the inheritance of life, values from teachers by receiving advice, and prohibitions, speeches, and lectures. The last types of VCIT is modeling. Students are expected to be impressed by the way of life of educators or teachers in displaying moral values in themselves, so that students can emulate them. The steps of VCIT learning. The first one is freedom of choice or cognitive. Choose freely, choose from a variety of alternatives, and choose after considering the consequences. The second one is appreciate or affective. It means affirms the value that has been chosen and acknowledge it in public according to the value that is chosen. The third is do or psychomotor. Behave and act in making decisions according to the choices, meaning that students embody values in their attitudes and behavior. The next material is good or not. The advantages and disadvantages of VIT learning. First, the advantages. Be able to provide a number of learning experiences from various lives. The second one is able to integrate various moral values in the value system and morals that exist within a person. And the last one is provides an overview of moral values that should be accepted and guides and motivates them to live a decent and high moral life. The next material is the disadvantages of VIT learning. The first is if the teacher or lecturer doesn't have the ability to involve students with opens, then a false or imitation or false attitude will emerge. The second one is strongly influenced by the ability of the teacher or lecturer in pursuit, especially requiring high-level questioning abilities and skills. So, in my materials, I'll give you the example of VIT learning. An example of the application VIT learning is, for example, holding open discussions with value students in class and discussing conflicts that arise due to the diversity of cultures and religions in the world. For example, Indonesia have a lot of religions, moderation. The diversity of religions can create problems due to differences of opinion. The teacher invites the remaining students to discuss the importance of religious moderations in this diverse life. After all students have expressed their opinions, the teacher wants to provide correct explanations and conclusions about religious moderation. In the discussion, we can take the values that will be applied by the students and can implement them in everyday life or the daily life. Alright, this is the second topic, model problem-based learning. Problem-based learning was introduced for the first time in 1969 from a medical school called McMaster University, Hamilton, Canada. After that, many schools and universities around the world use learning methods that are still being used today and continue to be developed. This method directs students to gain new knowledge, using analysis of various knowledge and learning experiences they have. After that, connect what is owned with the learning problems given by the teachers. In a sense, problem-based learning was developed to provide learning experience for students. Okay, move on to the purpose of problem-based learning. First, to improve students' critical thinking skills in choosing and deciding something. The second one is provide training in solving problems in a systematic, mature, and planned manner so that the results are positive. The third one is problem-based learning is used to help students correctly understand the role of adults in life. The last one is there is encouragement for students to be able to become independent and responsible individuals. Next, we have learning syntax problem-based learning. We can see describe problem orientation. It means in this stage, the teacher first gives an understanding and explanation of the purpose of learning. This is done in order to foster learning motivation from students, especially in the RPP problem-based learning process. The second one is organizing students. The teacher will organize students into a learning system by giving assignments after determining the topics and explaining the process of doing it and others. So the results obtained are in line with expectations. The third one or the last one is giving education. The teacher will provide guidance to each individual or group. The goal is that students can get appropriate source of references. Of course, the source in questions is accordance with the problem at hand. The third one is giving education. The teacher We provide guidance to each individual or group. The goal is that students can get appropriate sources or references. Of course, the source in questions is in accordance with the problem at hand. The next syntax is developing work results. This means students get help from the teacher, especially in preparing the results of the problem-solving process that has been carried out and then form in a report. The results of this report will later be given to the teacher, which can be in the form of documentation, recordings, along with other supporting theories. The last syntax is analyzing and evaluation. The features ask students to reflect and evaluate the results obtained. This is done in terms of process and method because it must be done systematically. The next material is about good or not. Problem-based learning also have the advantages or disadvantages. We go for advantages first, right? First, the advantages of problem-based learning is learners are trained to be able to always use their minds to be critical and be able to be skilled in solving a problem, of course. And then the second one is in order to trigger an increase in the activity of students in the classroom with learning while practicing. The third one is the acceptance of these learning systems makes students accustomed to learning but using relevant sources. The disadvantages. First, for students who are not used to analyzing a problem, because not all of them have the desire to do it. And the second one is the teacher will find it difficult to be able to condition the assignment. This is of course if the number of students in the class is too much. Next, we have an example of problem-based learning. An example is during the celebration of Holi. Do you know Holi, right? It's from India, which is carried out by all religious people. Holi is a celebration carried out by Hindus in India. The question is whether only Indians can celebrate Holi? Are only Hindus in India entitled to celebrate Holi? In this problem-based learning model, a solution to the problem can be found, namely that Holi is not only celebrated by Hindus in India. Many people, for example in Indonesia, use Holi as a joyous and happy celebration. Okay, the next is the conclusion. VISIT or value clarification technique or value clarifying techniques is a learning approach that aims to change or instill values, norms in the form of simulations and learning activities. Meanwhile, based learning is a learning model developed to provide learning experience for students. These two learning models can certainly teach the values of religious moderation so that students and teachers can realize them in everyday life or daily lives. So that's all about my presentation. I close with Paramasanti. Om Santi Santi Santi. Thank you. Bye.